All right, man, peace. So it was a very quick turnaround after Game 6 and closing out the Oklahoma City Thunder for the Utah Jazz. They had very little time to prepare for the Houston Rockets. There is a huge disparity in the style of play between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets, and it showed in the first half of Game 1 in the Western Conference semifinals. The Utah Jazz looked a little bit in over their heads and shell-shocked by what they were facing. When you're dealing with a team that moves the ball a lot and can bomb away from three, as opposed to a team in Oklahoma City that wants to dribble, and go one-on-one, you do have to adapt. And as they're going to tell you, they used the first half of Game 1 to figure out this new style of play and what they're going to have to use defensively to try to nullify what Houston wants to do. So I kind of expected them to get blown out in Game 1. We'll truly get a chance to see exactly what this series is going to be about in Game 2. But anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Had sort of quiet first half. Who gets credit for that, whether it's the individual defense of the Rockets or you think you had an off night? What was responsible for it?
I think for us as a whole, not just myself, we kind of got stagnant with the ball. They started switching. We didn't really figure it out till the second half. And I think, we just obviously we didn't have a lot of time to prepare for that, so we just wanted to be able to go through it. When the first half was kind of like our, I guess you could say, preparation half, and then the second half we started moving the ball and looks started to get easier.
What happened on that play with your ankle, and how is it feeling now?
I turned it and he just stepped on it at the same time. So you can picture both things happening at one time. It's pretty painful, but I'm fine. I can run on it. No problem, no swelling. I'm good.
Well, there's no swelling right now, brother, but let's be for real. It's going to be swelling tomorrow morning. That's just your way of saying that you're not going to miss Game 2. And I admire that, but you are going to be hampered.
Just for Donovan and Jay, did you guys, was it a shock kind of going?
That looked like the same thing that happened to Steph Curry in that classic regular season game against Oklahoma City back in 2016 when he made that 30-foot three-pointer to win the game. For those of you who remember, I believe it was in the first half of that game where he had a very similar thing occur to him when he landed, twisted his ankle, and then Russell Westbrook landed on his foot while his ankle was turned, and he had to leave the game for a while.
Kind of going from a team that plays below the three-point line like OKC to a team that plays above the three-point line, mostly in trying to defend that and trying to defend different actions than you saw last series.
It was much different, obviously, but we know, the whole league knows these guys shoot a lot of threes and make threes. So I wouldn't say it was a shock. We knew it was coming, but it was it's an adjustment for us as a unit. But like I said, like Donovan said, we tried to figure it out on the fly and see what we can and can't do on both ends of the court. And I think we got some momentum there in the second half. We're trying to figure out what we can and can't do on both ends of the court.
The main thing that you guys are going to have to figure out is how to stop that play where Harden beats his man off the dribble to the basket, and then the big man who comes to help is left in the position where either he has to try to stop Harden at the rim, in which case he's going to give up an alley-oop, or he gives up the layup to Harden. I have not seen a team in the NBA that has figured that play out yet. And in order for you guys to win this series, you're going to have to stop that play. If it means that you're going to have to take away Harden's penetration, those are the type of things that you have to solve in the playoffs if you want to win. People may say, how are you going to stop that? No one has stopped that all season. Well, the team that's going to beat Houston is going to have to stop that play.
Talk about that ability for both of y'all, man, just to stay fighting after going down, by almost 30 in the first half. What changed in the second half to keep y'all just going and not giving up, man, really?
It's the playoffs. They get paid to persevere. They don't get paid to give up. What type of questions are these, man?
We didn't gave up all year. Don't plan on doing so now. We know this is not going to be easy. The road to where we want to be, which is the championship, is not going to be easy. So, with that being said, when guys make runs and when teams make runs, we have to stay the course and making adjustments on the fly and make a run of our own. I think we preach it a lot, and it's just a matter of us going out there and doing it. So, we're not going to give up. We're just going to keep playing and figuring it out.
Kyle Goon, Salt Lake Tribune. Donovan, what do you think Dante and Howell really did well in terms of trying to replace some of Ricky's playmaking?
They moved the ball well. They got downhill and transition a bunch. And I think that's both of their really strength on offense, getting downhill, finding guys, getting their own shots out of it. And if they're gonna keep playing back, they played back on Dante a few times, and he was able to get to the hole. So they just got to keep taking their open looks and getting to the rim, because that's how we get the blender started, and they do a great job of that. And as the series goes, they're going to continue to keep doing a great job of that.
Dante Exum has been a big bust thus far in the NBA. The only thing that he's shown that he's good at is doing an impersonation of Austin Powers. That's about it.
This question is for both of you guys, but how much did the last series maybe take something out of you guys in terms of being able to come in here and with full energy and sort of maybe being able to play the way that you want to do?
Most likely they're not going to make an excuse for Game 6 and the transition over to Game 1 and facing a whole other team that was waiting for them. But that's not an excuse. It's just a reason. When you're dealing with one type of a team for 6 games in a very intense matchup, especially going against a force of nature like Russell Westbrook, and now all of a sudden you have to deal with James Harden and Chris Paul, and that disparate type of play is going to take at least one game of adjustment. So once again, we're going to find out about the Utah Jazz in Game 2 and what they're really about.
It's a quick turnaround, obviously, and there's some fatigue, but that wasn't, the reason for the performance tonight, but it's definitely tough, but we've been through tough. We landed at 5 a.m. in San Antonio and played the same day and won, so we've been through tough times as a team, and we've gone through it. So we just didn't come out. We didn't really know what to expect. We knew what to expect, but really didn't know game plan wise, and we figured it out in the second half. And I don't think it was so much of the fatigue factor.
This series is also going to be a referendum on Mr. Mike D'Antoni, especially if Utah gets more competitive in Games 2 and we're able to win Game 3, say Game 4. If this series is tied after 4 games and Utah has figured out Houston's defensive game plan against them as well as their offensive game plan, and they're able to nullify many of their maneuvers, what does Mike D'Antoni do? As I've stated before, he has not shown me that he's a coach that's able to make adjustments, and that's why many of his teams have flamed out in the second round of the playoffs. So we'll see if these Houston Rockets are going to have the same fate. I don't think that Utah is going to have enough talent to beat them, but we'll see. We'll see. I doubted Utah in the first round, and they proved me wrong. So let's see if they can prove me wrong again in this matchup right here with the Houston Rockets.
Donovan, what did you notice from Trevor Ariza and his approach to you individually tonight?
He was, a lot of times he would deny me the ball if I gave it up. Wasn't helping off me as much as they did during the regular season. And he's a good defender. He's taller than me. He's longer than me. So just being able to find ways to attack him and understand that he's a good defender. You got to respect that, and it's not going to be easy going against him.
Can you talk about, you guys have faced the Rockets obviously a lot and James Harden. Can you talk about, what he can do, just the challenges that he presents, and how you kind of plan to deal with him defensively moving forward?
Well, you got to make it tough as possible.
Let me say this about Hardhead, and I'm sure that some of his fans are going to say, why you call him James Hardhead? Look, when it comes to a lot of these very talented players who make bad decisions on the court or switch off on the court, flame out, yes, I'm not going to call them by their actual name until they show that they're going to have the mental acuity, the basketball IQ to match their overwhelming physical talent. They're shorting themselves, and they're shorting the game of basketball when they make these terrible decisions on the court or off the court that take away from their chances to optimize the gifts that they've been given. So when I see a James Hardhead last year in Game 6 against the San Antonio Spurs totally flame out, look like an android out there on the basketball court, and then right after the game he's at the strip club on some boat with some tight-ass shorts on trying to dance, I'm sorry, I can't respect that. So he has to show me. That's what I need to see from James Hardhead. He has to show me that he's willing to put his career, which is supposed to be what galvanizes him, he's going to put it on the level of seriousness where every moment he's going to put forth his best effort. That's what matters. It doesn't matter necessarily if the outcome is not what he wants it to be. But as long as I see that he's mentally attuned and that his conviction is there, that's all I'm looking for. And that's going to play out on the court, because they are supposed to at least go to the Western Conference Finals and have a very good showing against the Golden State Warriors. That means what? No less than 6 games. If they go out to the Warriors in anything less than 6 games, their season is a flop.
He does a great job of drawing fouls. So that's in the back of our heads as defenders and trying to stop him. But you just got to give him different looks, make him uncomfortable. Once he get comfortable in offense and get in rhythm, it can be tough on you. So I think first half he had got it going a little bit, got comfortable. Second half we tried to just get up into him and make him as uncomfortable as possible and make him make every shot he shoot is contested. But he's a heck of an offensive player, we all know. So you just got to make it as tough as possible and make sure you get every shot contested.
It doesn't help that the refs let him take 4 steps to get behind the 3-point line. Nigga out there looking like he doing the Harlem Shake and the cha-cha-cha. Picks up the basketball and then takes 5 steps, man. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
Jay, how can you help, Royce O'Neal, man? He just found out he was starting today. You coming right into the fire, having to check MVP front runner and James Harden, man. Just what advice can you get him, and how did you think he performed today under those circumstances, just finding out he was starting today?
Yeah, I think...
Here's what you know about James, though. You know that James Harden's going to have at least one game in the series where he shoots 3 for 20. You have to win that game. You cannot blow that game. He's going to have at least one game in the series where he shoots 3 for 20, 4 for 24, something crazy like that. He had a 2 for 18 game against Minnesota, and they still beat them. So there was no way in the world that Minnesota was going to win that series. When, not if, but when James Harden has that type of game, Utah must win that game.
Yeah, I think he did good. I think he adjusted well once he figured out how the game, the flow of the game was played. But I'm sure it was a shock to him. But I think he did well. I think he's going to continue to get better for us as the series goes on. I think the nerves will be out of him game 2, if there were any. I think he'll be better. So I think he did a good job of making it tough and making an adjustment second half and guarding.
Thanks, man.
Yo, dead ass, man. I need to know where some of these NBA dudes are going shopping for their attire at so that I know where not to go. Because this nigga James Harden looked like somebody took his grandmother's living room curtains down and sewed them into a short set for his ass. I don't know what's going on with this guy.
James Harden, when you're going to win an MVP, what? It's gold, Jerry. What are those, like some satin pajamas?
I'm surprised that when James sat down, he didn't slide right off the chair.
Christy Regan from the AP. James, what do you think was the key to y'all being able to get off to a good start and build that big lead early?
They made shots.
Just the way we came out, our intensity on both ends of the floor. Defensively, we just try to make it difficult for them, as we do every single game. And then offensively, the same thing: move the basketball, get open shots, and make sure we're unselfish.
Chris and James, I guess. Any feel for why you guys...
Now look at CP3. Chris Paul is wearing a necklace, and the emblem on the necklace is of the owl. I did a video a while ago in relation to Mr. Chris Paul and his association with State Farm Insurance, and one of his latest commercials where he shows himself doing the as above so below pose while conveying the notion that he's under mirror programming. I have little doubt that both he and his wife are Luciferians, allegedly. But, it is what it is.
Against them this year have scored pretty much better than any team. Why you've been able to take apart this very good defense the way others haven't?
I don't know. We just try to push the tempo, mix it up, try to, get threes, get out in transition. Gobert sort of sits back, they try to funnel you to him, so we just try to mix it up with floaters, lobs, mid-range shots, which somewhat goes against, we just try to score, basically.
Eric Williard from the Desert News. Chris, we know, the relationship you had with Don coming in and, the advice you're giving him, but coming into this game, man, how did you put that to the side and help the team, as far as with the defense that they played on him?
What, do you think because Chris Paul hangs out with Donovan Mitchell in the offseason that he's going to come into the second round of the playoffs when he's never won a championship and say to himself, well, maybe I'll give Utah a couple of games in this series because I love Donovan so much? Like, come on, man. These guys got to ask better questions.
you know, today?
Easy. For real, like.
Look at how these guys are shaking their heads, man. It's like, what are you thinking asking a dumbass question like that? How do you put that to the side? Nigga, it's the playoffs, man. What are you talking about?
These guys got guys probably on other teams that they close with and stuff like that. I sent Donovan a text after they finished the last series, told him congrats, talk to you after the series. You know what I mean? Like it's all competition, never nothing personal, and it's easy.
How about asking Chris Paul a question like, seeing as you and Donovan Mitchell have a very close relationship and that you worked out in the off season, how did that impact the game plan for this series, seeing as you should be very comfortable in explaining to your coaching staff that you know what he likes to do out on the court in certain positions out on the court? Did that have a heavy impact in the game plan defensively? Instead of asking a stupid-ass question like, was it hard to put to the side your relationship with Donovan Mitchell before this series? Like, what are you talking about, man?
Tim McMahon, ESPN. James, in terms of your individual offense, how much are you adjusting to what they do defensively, and how much of it is just you're going to do what you do?
He only has to adjust if they make him adjust. If they don't make him adjust, he does not have to adjust.
A little bit of both. I mean, for the most part, I'm going to do what I do. But once again, offensively, I think this team is, and us, we're different. And so we've seen so many different defenses throughout the year that have prepared us for this moment. You know, whether it's, you know, like you said, you know, Gobert, you know, being back at the rim or team switching or whatever. You know, we've seen it pretty much all year. So we watch film and we figure out how can we, you know, create threes and create opportunities for each other, and we go out there and just play our butt off. Pretty simple.
Brian Smith, Houston Chronicle. PJ, you had a couple corner threes that Chris set up in transition. James was going first half and second half. What's it like when you have both those guys attacking, setting up, hitting baskets? I mean, that's a very, very difficult offense to obviously defend with 2 point guards playing at the peak of their potential.
I mean, how is it for me? I mean, it's easy. You got 2 point guards. Like, you just, you know, do what they say, tell you, they set it up, tell us where to be, and me and Trevor just kind of space and go where we need to be and be able to space the floor. Or, you know, sometimes we get the mismatches where we get bigs on us where we can kind of pop back and get in the pocket, be able to make a play. But, I mean, they get so much attention that for the rest of us, it's pretty easy.
Tim Cato, SB Nation. Chris, you know, before the season, you've talked about being able to play with someone like James Harden, another ball handler, you know, just, you know, wanting to have that a little bit different than the way you've played in the past. Do you feel validated just the way that it's worked, the success that you guys have had, you know, this season?
I don't think that it's time for validation or proclamations about how it's worked thus far. Now, for someone like me, who deduced that this matchup, this pairing between James Harden and Chris Paul was not going to work, I have to say that I've been surprised by how well they've been able to acclimate their individual playing styles to each other in regards to making sure that the team is as proficient as it needs to be. But this is not the time for them to be patting themselves on the back. They have a lot of work to do. It's only game 1 in the second round of the playoffs. They have aspirations to win the championship.
Nah, we still got a lot of work to do.
Thank you, sir.
You know what I mean?
Just talked about that.
Huh?
Just talked about that.
Yeah, we still got a lot of work to do. Has it been fun? Absolutely. You know, to play off the ball with, I mean, somebody like when you're out the game and, you know, the lead increases, you know, and just getting a chance to, I don't know, it's been fun, but like I said, we got a lot of work to do.
Kristen Kenny with the Utah Jazz, and this is for Chris. I know that you have been giving Donovan some advice during his rookie year. How much of that was in the playoffs, and were you giving him that advice in the playoffs of how you guard him?
No, that's him. You know what I mean? He's y'all sick.
Yeah, they got to put their heads down because the level of questions are so damn stupid. Like, what you think? Chris Paul is texting Donovan Mitchell right before the series. Hey, remember how you guarded me last summer? Yeah, do that again because that works real well. Like, come on, man.
that's him. Like, he playing great on his own. You know what I mean? So I ain't got nothing for him.
And why would you offer him any advice on how to make his game better right before you're about to play him?
Can you talk a little bit about, you guys have talked about your defense all year. We know obviously offensively what you can do as a team, but just how you guys have been able to continue to improve defensively and the work of somebody like PJ and the work of Trevor that doesn't necessarily show up in the box scores.
They make this thing go, and they don't get a lot of credit, but we know how important and valuable they are to us and to our team, and it's just our communication, like from the summertime to to now, like we communicate every single day, even though sometimes we don't want to, but we just talk. And you get a lot of teams that don't do that don't love and enjoy being around each other and being on the court with each other. Like, I think that's what makes this thing work. So whether it's for PJ and Trev or even Luke coming back, CP, just the entire team, we're able to communicate, and that's what, helps us on the court.
Jonathan Fagan, Houston Chronicle. PJ, is it beneficial for a way to start a series to not only play very well and have that big first half, but to also struggle a little bit and sort of get some reality check there?
A little bit. I think for us, we've had ups and downs with having big leads. I mean, we have a bunch of games where we have a big lead, and you're the one that always asks these questions about, when we get those different kind of games where you always ask that, right? Every time you ask that question, and it's true. It's a little true because we see it and we always be like, all right, here we go, fellas. We up 25, 30, whatever. Let's get focused and let's try to keep it going. But I mean,
it's going to be difficult to hold a lead that large against another playoff caliber team. That's just a part of it. But as long as they maintain their defensive principles, look, it's pretty much set in stone that we're going to see the Houston Rockets against the Golden State Warriors for the Western Conference Finals. I don't see Utah having enough to be able to play with the Rockets, but Game 2 is going to tell us pretty much everything that we need to know in regards to how far this series is going to go, in my view. If Game 2 is very competitive, comes down to the last 3 minutes, then I'll give Utah an opportunity, a chance to make me believe that they have a chance to at least make the series competitive. Because even if they lose Game 2, if the final score is 98-97 or 98-94, something along those lines, and then they go to Utah and tie the series up at 2, I give them an opportunity to win the series, especially if James Hardhead has not had his 3 for 19 game yet after 4 games, because that game is coming. And the game where CP3 implodes, that game is coming as well. So when those games come, Utah has to capitalize.
I mean, it's human nature to kind of relax a little bit. So to let down in the third quarter, like, Coach, don't even got to talk about it because we already know. We can't do that going forward. Especially in this series, these guys are not going to give up. They're not going to stop playing, and they can cut the lead quick if we have those mind lapses. So it's something that we continue to work on, but to go as far as we want to go, it's something we got to improve on.
PJ, when they play big the way that they do, and you still out-rebound them, do you feel like that just neutralizes an advantage that they could have?
I think a lot of the times, it's something that we always talk about. We're smaller, but we still manage our rebound people because we're pretty good on our rotations and crackbacks where we can really.
Kurt Dragthorpe's
a huge part of what we're trying to do. He comes off that bench and he can guard 1 through 5. Really good playmaker and knock down open shots. So it felt good to have everybody out there and on the same page and in sync, and defensively rotations was good. We're communicating, like, that made us feel good. And when we're doing that, it's pretty scary, especially defensively and offensively. We just got it going, creating opportunities for each other, moving our bodies, and feeling really comfortable, like, in our shots and not turning down anything. And that's the most important thing. Like, it's been games where we're gonna miss shots, but those are our shots, and we're gonna do that no matter what. And tonight we made them.
But anyway, that's it on Game 1 between the Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. We'll see where this series goes. If you're going to ask me what my prognostication is for this series right now, from what I've seen, it'll be Rockets in 5. I think that Utah will be able to win a game in Utah, but other than that, I don't think they have enough firepower to beat a team like the Rockets, who are going to make them really think and work on the defensive end. But anyway, peace.